Hi guys, you're welcome back to my channel. So guys, today we'll be making this 720-degree peplum. It's a very simple process. As you can see, this is a 720-degree peplum. All right, so this one is actually short. You can make yours longer. So what you need to do is just to fold your fabric. If you're working with a fabric, fold it into 4. I folded this pattern paper into 4. So just divide whatever measurements you're using. If it is your waist measurement, divide it by 6.28. So let's assume your waist is waist 30. Divide waist 30 by 6.28. That way you get a circumference. You get what I'm trying to get on this edge of the paper. Okay, so wherever you're placing the peplum, just divide that place. If it is your new, divide the circumference by 6.28. So for me, the waist I'm using, I got 2.5 inches. So that is what I marked on that paper, as you're seeing. Okay, it's almost 3 inches. So I'm just going ahead now to just impute whatever measurement I got. I'm going to make it round. I'll just impute it round the same way I'm doing right now from the tip of the paper. If you're using a fabric, from the tip of your fabric, don't worry, I'll still open this pattern paper. You'll see how I was able to fold it. So I'm just going ahead to carefully mark it. Just mark it carefully round until you get to the to the other side of the paper. All right. Okay, so once you're done doing that, just use your pen or whatever you're using. Use it to mark it the way you see me marking it, from one end from where you started to where it ended. So on that line now, just mark the length of your peplum. Mine was very short, so just make it any length you want. All right, mark the length of the peplum you want. If it is 9 inches, 10 inches, whatever length you want, just go ahead and mark it as you can see me marking. When you finish marking it from this end to the other end, you connect it the same way you connected the first one. All right, so I'll go ahead and finish marking it, then I will connect it so that you see. So I'll just go ahead and use this marker and connect it from that point. This is the length. I'll connect it from that point where it ended to where I started the marking from. So this is it. I'm done doing that. I just want to be sure that everything is clear, so I'll just go ahead. I'll go in with my scissors, my paper scissors, and I'll use it to cut it out. I'll cut this length out. You can add your stitching allowances because this peplum is going to have a lining. So if yours is going to have a lining, do well to add your allowance for joining your lining. Okay, so I've finished cutting it out. I'll go ahead and cut out this other upper part, the circumference of the waist. Mind you, this pattern paper is on fold. I folded it into 4. I'll open it up so that you see what it looks like. This is it when I opened it up. So I'll go ahead, I'll close it, and I'll place on the fabric just the same way I place on the fabric, and I'll just cut it, making sure that the place that is folded remains folded on the fabric. Okay, so I'll go ahead now. I'll just cut it out. After cutting it out on this fabric, I will cut another one, because for 720-degree peplum you need 2 of these so that you will join it together. 360 is just one, 720 is 2 of 360. So I'll just go ahead now. I will also cut out another one of these, making it 2 pieces, okay, because we need 2 to make it 720. 360 is just 1 piece, while 720 is 360 times 2, so you need 2 to make it 720. So let me just trim out this fabric, and I will go ahead and cut out a second piece. All right, so this is it. I've cut out a second piece. So we have 720 here looking at us, and this is what we have. I've cut the lining out. As you can see, that black fabric is the lining, and the white you're seeing is the peplum stay. You can use a peplum stay to make it stand if you want your peplum to stand, but if you don't want it to stand very, very well, you can just use a normal stay that is not as strong as a peplum stay, because peplum stay will give you that standing effect that you usually see. All right, so I'm just going ahead to cut out one edge so that I'll be able to join it. Remember, it's a 720, so we need to be able to join it on one end. So I'm cutting out everything, even the lining. I'm going to cut out just one edge not the two edge. You know, two edges are on fold, so you cut out one edge so that you'll be able to join it together. You cut both the lining, you cut the fabric, and you also cut your peplum stay. All right, so just go ahead and do that. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm cutting out the stay that I'm using for this. This is the stay. I'm cutting it out, okay? So when I'm done doing this now, I'll show you the next thing to do. You can see that even the lining, I also cut out everything, but it's just one side that I cut. So don't go and cut the two sides, all right? So these are all the pattern pieces. See the first 360 here. So I'll go ahead and iron this on it. The gum side will be ironed on the wrong side of the fabric. There's a side that has gum. That is where you iron on the wrong side of the fabric. So I'll iron it on the first 360 and iron it also on the second 360. For the lining, I will not iron anything on it. I'll just leave it like that, okay? So I'll go to my iron now and we'll just iron it very well so that it will not be sticking out. Okay, I'll use a steam iron for that. So I'm done ironing it. This is it. You see, it's already giving us that 720 effect. So what we need to do now is to join it. At this point, I have not yet joined it, but I use my pin to pin it down. So this is where I'm going to join it. I'll just go and sew it with 1/2 inch or less. I'll just sew it. So I'm done sewing it. Now for this peplum, I don't want the center front to be straight, okay? I want to give it a shape. I want it to be a slightly curved towards the edge, all right, towards the end of the peplum. I don't want it to just be a straight peplum. I want it to have that. If you look at my own on the mannequin, it has this curve. So I'm going to curve the two sides. Mind you, whenever you curve on this fabric, you're also going to curve it on the lining so that they will all have the same shape. So they will all come out very well. Okay, so I'm just trying to curve it the same way I curved the other one to give it that shape that it has. So I'm done doing it. So this is for the band that will be on the waist. This band is about 3.5 inches wide. The length of this band is double or even triple of your waist circumference. That is the length of it. So I'll just go to the machine now. I'll begin to sew. The first thing I want to sew is the lining. I'll sew the lining to the fabric, okay, with 1/2 inch or whatever allowance you have. So I'll just go ahead. I'll sew the lining. This is what I'm doing. I'm sewing the lining on the fabric. So at this point now, I'm just sewing the lining together on the fabric, okay? So I forgot to use a hemming gum initially. When I remembered that I did not put a hemming gum, I had to go back, get my hemming gum, and I started from the beginning. Okay, so I'm just sewing this thing together with my hemming gum so that when you're ironing it, it will help it very well. The lining will not be puffing out on where the fabric is, okay, to give you that neat finishing. So whenever you're doing anything hem, always use a hemming gum like this, okay, to help you when you iron it. It will be perfect. But if you don't have a hemming gum, just make sure you iron it very well so that the lining will not be puffing out when somebody wears the clothes. I think my light went off here. So I'm done doing that. As you can see, this is it. So this is the upper part of the peplum. That is the waist part. I'm trying to just hold it together, hold the lining together with the, I'm trying to hold the lining together with the fabric on the upper part. Then any excess, I'll trim it off. If I have any excess lining after joining the waist, as you see me doing now, I'll just trim off the lining, okay? So that the lining and the fabric will be together. This way, it will be easy for me to fix the band on it. It will be very easy for me to fix the waistband. So that is what I'm doing here. So next thing, I'll just grab that waistband. I'll grab one. I'll place it on top of the right side of the fabric. I'll get the middle of this band. I'll also get the middle of the main peplum. So I will pin it. See how I pin this? The middle of the band to the middle of the main peplum. So I'll pin it up, and I remember that the band is 2 pieces. See it? I'm done pinning it. I pinned it all through. I have an extension. This is the extension. So you can make yours longer. The longer it is, the more the bow, what you use and tie it at the end of the day. So my own has an extension. Yours should have an extension. After you finish pinning it from one side of the middle to the other edge, just the way I did it in this video, and I marked half an inch. You see that I even use my pen to mark because I want to sew exactly half an inch and I don't want to sew less. So I started sewing from that edge. It's just what you saw me doing. I started sewing from that edge after I have pinned it with my pin. Remember that one of these bands is under this, is on the right, is on the lining part where the lining is. Then another band is on top the main fabric. So when I finish sewing it now, I will flip it. You will see what it looks like. After I finish sewing it, I will now top stitch it. So let's just keep on sewing this one and see how it is. Okay. So I'll just keep sewing it with my half an inch. I'll sew it to the end. Alright, don't be in a hurry. Just take your time. Remember, this is a 720-degree peplum, so it has already started coiling on the waist part. So you need to take your time. As you can see, I have pins all over. I pinned it and I even marked the band so that I will sew exactly half an inch. It's a lot of work, but it makes your work comes out very easy, very beautiful, and it will be very precise. You won't have any issue. Okay, so just make sure you take out the pin out of your way as you're sewing. This way will give you neat finishing every sewing inside. So you see, I've gotten to the end of the waist, but I'm still sewing because the band has an extension. So I'm now sewing the extension now. So if you want your extension to be longer, make your band longer, like 3 times your waist measurement. So when I get to this point, I'll now raise up my footer and then I'll sew it. I'll lock it. When I finish sewing it, I'll remove it for you to see. See how it is now. This is it. You see, I'll go ahead. I'll iron it. Then I'll iron half an inch on the band before sewing it, so that it will be easy for me to stitch. Okay, it will be easy for me to top stitch. So I'll just turn it over like this. I'll go to my ironing table. I'll iron half an inch on both ends of the band. This way. See how I'm folding it? I'll go and iron it. I'll also iron the down part like this. If you iron it this way with half an inch, it will be easy for you to top stitch. So I'll just go ahead and iron it. So I've ironed it and I'm now top stitching it. You see how very easy it is for me to top stitch it. If you look at it very well, you notice that I ironed it. So as I ironed it, it just lay flat on my machine. I'm just running that top stitch on it. So this method is actually very, very beginner friendly. It's very, very easy. It's very beginner friendly. There are other methods you can use to sew this, but I find this method actually very easy. So I'm done sewing it. It's very easy. So this is what I have at the end of the day. The peplum is very beautiful. You can make yours longer, like I said. This one is just for tutorial purposes. So this is so beautiful. I love the outcome.